Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Monday, March 14th, 2016 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is I flower into balance, body, mind, soul, spirits. And I think the energy of the flower, blooming, opening, allowing, may be really helpful in the energy today because we've got a really interesting Astro Day. So yesterday we were dealing with two T-squares, working with the mutable energies. And today it flowers, blooms into a full-on mutable grand cross or mutable square energy. So everything's kind of resisting the other. And mutable energy really can take us into our mind and like, am I going to go this way? Am I going to go that way? Am I going to do this? I'm going to go do that. And it can get so tangled up and confusing. And we're going to just try to do our best to walk through that today. So the moon is in Gemini, lighting up the mind. But the moon is so interesting because the moon in Gemini connects our emotions to our minds. And it's something, I have a really interesting moon placement. My moon placement is in the third house. And the third house is the placement of the mind. It is Gemini energy. So something I noticed for me and for other people that I've talked to with this placement is it's really important to recognize when your mind starts telling you things and you start feeling it. Because you feel it, you believe it. Rather than you feel it and then your mind processes what's going on. It comes the other way sometimes with that. And in this energy, we may feel that. Our mind is telling us stuff and it's projecting. It's projecting onto us. It's having us feel what it's saying, but it's not actually true. It's based on stories that the mind is telling, often stories from the past. So really pay attention to what your mind energy is telling you, what kind of stories are popping up. The moon in Gemini is going to start the day connecting to Neptune. The moon is then going to connect to Saturn. The moon is then going to connect to Mercury, Jupiter, Uranus. So the moon's going to be making all of these connections, bringing information to our mind. Neptune in Pisces is trying to crack open the mind, as is Saturn. Saturn in Sagittarius is trying to crack open our mind as well, shifting our beliefs. So we have both of those energies, kind of like, hey mind, you know, you meant to hold so much more. Let's work together. Let's crack this open. Mercury, though, is playing a big part of this mix, too. Mercury in Pisces is going to be squaring Saturn. It's also going to be, like I said, squaring the moon. So Mercury, while, again, we're working with that Pisces energy of moving into the oneness, merging with ourselves as the body, mind, soul, spirit, more than just the mind, more than just the body, the whole thing all together. Mercury is trying to do that, but that resistance energy is happening. The beautiful thing about Mercury squaring Saturn, it is happening at 16 degrees. Mahalo has a lot to say about this, which is a 7. So Spirit is really in and working with us and through us in this. If you get confused, if your mind starts getting tangled up in the mind webs, go back into meditation, come back into your body. In fact, that's probably the most useful advice I can probably give for the day. We actually have a Jupiter yod, again, pointing at Jupiter in Virgo, that's saying don't focus on the minutiae, don't focus on the details, don't focus on what you can't control. Focus on what you can do for yourself, in your body. How does your body feel? This beautiful yod is so cool because we've got Jupiter, like I said, in Virgo, and on one side of the yod, which is a finger of God pointing like, here's where you gotta look, here's where you gotta be, we've got Uranus, which is bringing that innovation, it's bringing that evolution, revolution, and then we've got Vesta on the other side of things. Vesta, which tunes us into our divine spark. We are all so much more than the mind. We're all so much more than these details. So if you get confused, if you get turned around in this mutable cross and don't know which way you're going, which is very easy in mutable energy because it's so changeable all the time, if you don't know, that's fine. Come back here. Come back to the heart. Come back to your divine spark. We also have Mercury connecting to Pluto. And so Pluto, this is going to be late in the evening. This might even be happening once you've given up on the day and have gone to bed. But Mercury connecting to Pluto will help get into that energy and again, show you where to shift and where you can show up for yourself. So I think that's all I can really say because it's just going to be one of those days. If you feel yourself resisting, ask what way feels good, what feels yum, what feels yuck. Move in the direction that feels good. Move in a direction that is true to you on all the levels, body, mind, soul, spirit. And let me be fair and say that the mind may be resistant, especially with all this mind energy. But if you start feeling good, the mind will get on board eventually. It sometimes takes some time. So before I do the Rumi, which is so good for this, I'm going to show you the cards. Projections. This is what the mind is doing on our body, on our feelings. It's projecting all of the thoughts, all of the stuff from the past. The mind is rarely in the present. Mind is usually in the past or in the future. This is what's going to happen. This is what's happened, what has happened. If you can get out of that place of projections and into the moment right now, what's right now? What do I feel right now? You'll be able to move past those projections, past comparison. This is what happened before. That's what may happen. All of that stuff is not true. It's good to have that logical energy, but at the same time, it holds us back so many times. And there's the card, the burden, with the cock on the head. That's what our mind will be doing. Instead, what we are to do today, understand this is part of the process, going through these times where we kind of feel, I don't know, torn apart. It's meant to expand. These oppositions, these squares, these resistances, ultimately they help us expand and stretch us. But it takes a willingness to be present with the stretching and listening to that inner voice, listening to the inner knowing, the inner feeling, your true core of yourself, the light of you, to move past and through. So the Rumi for today, so good. My Rumi book is actually falling apart. All right. God is pleased when your love realizes it is part of something oceanic and begins to move with the whole. The larger love is more real, being itself reality. These forms a mix of earth and water. Yes, you say, but I already have a deep love. Not deep or vast enough. More like a river water filled with silt. Don't wash your hands there. The love you must enter lives in the saints and prophets. It's already the ocean, whereas most loving still filters through countryside, enjoying the passage. The ocean says, quit pretending to be clear. The pretense keeps you from receiving what I can give. This world is a watery shadow of ocean love. The sea of light cannot be contained in single human beings, so leave fragments and be the mountains. Hold out your apron to catch what comes with being in the presence. Merging with ocean love has nothing to do with age or the color of anyone's hair. So that's it from Rumi today. That's it from me today. Have a beautiful day. Don't resist. Expand as much as you can. And if you'd like more information, book a reading. I'll see you tomorrow. Namaste.